Well, hello, dear friend. How are you? Well, I want to ask you something. Do you ever worry about how the dynamics in your marriage, how they might affect your kids? You're not alone. You're not alone. In neurodiverse marriages, especially when one partner is autistic or highly sensitive, children can pick up on tension, they can pick up on unpredictability, on emotional stress as well. And today I'm going to show you practical ways to protect your children's emotional well-being, without shaming your husband, without blaming yourself, or feeling guilty about needing boundaries. Well, I want to welcome you in. If it's your first time, welcome, welcome. And if it's not your first time, you're wonderful. Thank you. I'm so glad to see you here again. Well, my name is Olivia Hall, and I've been in a neurodiverse marriage for well over 25 years. As a matter of fact, I'm going on 30 years. And I want to share with you one thing. My heart, my goal, and the only reason I'm here is to help you feel seen, supported, understood, and validated on this neurodiverse marriage journey. I'm with you all the way. Well, before we dive in, I want to mention just a couple of things up front, okay? First, I don't have children of my own, but I am an auntie mommy, okay? And I've, spent years and years supporting neurotypical wives, just regular wives and my sisters and friends, right? But more importantly for this discussion, I've spent years supporting neurotypical wives in neurodiverse marriage, right? Marriages. And, that means I've seen firsthand um, kind of what creates emotional safety for kids, right? And how setting up boundaries can protect their well-being. Okay, so um, secondly, I wanted to say that I'm not a licensed therapist, not at all. So, this isn't professional advice, and it's practical strategies you can try to create calm and consistency at home. So you can just try some of these practical strategies, okay? And I also want to mention that this topic has been coming up quite a bit in my comments and on, on my YouTube channel. I get it often in some emails. And many dear hearts, dear women, they ask questions like, how do I keep my kids emotionally safe? When my husband is struggling or at work or in communication or just struggling in general, or, they ask, um, you know, they say things like, I want to protect my children, but I don't know where to start, you know, and if those are some of your questions, and if they resonate with you, dear friend, well, this video, it's for you. Are you ready? Let's go. Well, let's start with step number one, presenting a united front. Presenting in a united front. So, one of the most important ways to protect your kids is by, presenting a consistent, I can't say that word, consistent. That's better, right? Thank you. Thank you for being kind. Presenting a consistent, united front. Okay. And this doesn't mean you have to agree on everything. It does not. You can disagree respectfully in private, not in front of the children, not in front of the children, right? Um, show your kids that adults are working together to create safety and calm. Show them that, okay? And, even, small gestures Like agreeing on bedtime for your kids, agreeing on mealtime, or consequences, right? There are consequences if they do something wrong, right? Agreeing on those gives children um, predictable cues. You know, it gives them a sense of safety and routine, right? And that reduces their anxiety. Okay. So remember, unity is about emotional consistency, not perfection. You're not, okay? Okay, let's go on. Step number 2, creating predictability in the home. So we kind of talked about that, but let's go a little bit further. So, children thrive on routine, right? They like to know what's next. Or even if they don't like to know it, they don't know it, but they thrive. Children thrive on routine. Predictable schedules provide comfort. Yeah. Especially when one or more of the family members are neurodiverse, right? So just having that predictability is comforting, like keep regular wake up and bedtimes, keep those consistent, plan meals and homework and family activities in a predictable manner. Okay. Um, Use visual schedules or family calendars. You can, one of those big calendars, and children know what to do on certain days and what times, all of those great things. And these are just suggestions, these are just strategies, right? Um, and so using those can be helpful. Predictability doesn't remove flexibility, right? But it gives your children a reliable framework. Yeah. So, they can feel secure even um, when, adults get a little sideways, when, there might be an argument, there's some tensions, when your emotions are up and down, right? Yeah. So that's a good thing. Okay, let's move on to step number 3. Here's one, handling meltdowns. Right. So meltdowns happen from your husband. Meltdowns happen um, from a neurodivergent child or anyone in the home. Yeah, anybody actually can have a meltdown, uh, even you. And but how you respond can make all the world of difference. It can make all the world of difference, right? So here we go. Stay calm and grounded to the best of your ability. Your regulation, you being comfortable, I mean, you staying calm, it models safety for your precious children. Okay. Set safe boundaries. Okay. I'm here to help. But we need to take space to calm down, right? I'm here to help you, but you're gonna have to calm down. Okay. Um, Encourage coping strategies. Okay. And remember, we're talking about helping meltdowns, right? So encourage coping strategies like, taking, breaths, breathing, um, setting up a quiet space, right? um, Using sensory tools. Okay. And we're talking about handling meltdowns um, in neurodiverse spaces. Okay. And then protect your children by not exposing them to blame or conflict. You know, we grew up and, my mom, it was very rare. I mean, you did not see adults talking or fighting in front of, or at least that was my experience, in front of us as children. Everything was done in private to the best of their ability. I'm not saying they were perfect, but it just didn't happen where we saw a lot of that. And so that makes a difference. And so protect your children by not exposing them to blame or conflict, and redirect their attention, if needed. So if something they feel they feel your tension, kind of step away from that and redirect your children to something else, right? And you and your partner, y'all can finish that later, right? Your goal is not to fix the meltdown. No, it's to keep everyone emotionally safe. That's it. That's the goal. Okay. Let's go on to step number 4, setting healthy boundaries. This is a good one, setting healthy boundaries. So, boundaries are not about punishing or rejecting anyone. They're about protection and emotional health. That's what it's about. And let me share a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. So, like, here's a boundary: defining times when certain discussions are off limits around the kids. There are certain things that we are not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about it again, right, in front of the children. Okay. Here's another boundary: separating adult conflicts from family time. When it's family time, it's family time. It's not time for you and I to get into it, or, to start our conflict up again in front of the children. No, not having it, not doing it. Okay. Um, and here's another boundary, limiting exposure to overwhelming situations, right? So just stuff that's just too much that kids shouldn't see, they shouldn't hear, right? So boundaries show children that it's safe to have needs, to have limits, right? And to teach them how to care for themselves, right? Yeah. Here's another step. Step number 5: model emotional regulation. Hmm. Children learn from your behavior, mom. They learn from your behavior, your calm, regulated responses. Teach them how to manage their own emotions. Mhm. They watch you, you know. What's that saying? Kids learn more. Oh, I can't remember. More caught than taught, something like that. Have you heard of that? Hmm. Okay, let me keep going. Um, yeah, children learn, they watch you. They learn from your behavior, from your responses, how you respond. And, here's something like, you can use simple phrases like, I'm feeling frustrated. I need a moment. Mama needs a minute. I'm feeling a little push today. I just need a second. Or, demonstrate self-care habits, like, you're just going to take a short breath for just 5 minutes. You take short breaks. You journal, right? You take time to talk to the Lord. You pray. You open your Bible and you read scripture, right? To take care of you, right? You go out for a walk in the neighborhood, just for some fresh air to renew your mind, right? And here's another thing: praise your children when they use coping strategies themselves. So when you see them using some of those coping strategies, praise them, like, you're doing so great, honey. That's great. And so when your kids see that emotional regulation is possible, mhm, they internalize security. They feel secure. They internalize security. They internalize trust, and they internalize self-confidence. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So let's go on to step number, let me see, 6. 6. Okay. Keep communication simple and safe. Okay. So communicate openly with your children. Okay. Communicate openly with your children, but keep explanations age appropriate, right? You know, don't talk above their head, above their age, you know. Um, acknowledge feelings. It's okay to feel frustrated when things feel hard. Acknowledge that in front of them, even at school or something's going on with them. You can teach them, it's okay to feel frustrated. You can be mad, you can be angry or upset when things feel hard. Here's another one, avoid adult conflicts or, over explaining the marriage dynamics. Don't do that. Your daddy is autistic. He's on the autism spectrum. He thinks differently. He's different. Ugh, please don't ever do that. Don't do that. That doesn't help the children. You may feel better for the second, but please don't. Please don't do that, right? Um, Definitely explore, just explaining what this marriage is and we're a neurodiverse home, dad is this and, you know, whoever else, grandma says, let's not do that. And emphasize your role as a safe and consistent parent. Emphasize your role as a safe and consistent parent. The goal is emotional clarity without burdening your children with adult stress. They don't need to just feel all of the stress that you have to handle, right? That you deal with in your marriage, in your dynamics, you and your husband. They don't need that. They're children. And so the goal is emotional clarity, right? Without putting that burden on your children. Well, protecting your kids in a neurodiverse marriage isn't about controlling your husband or, it's not about blaming yourself either. It's not. And what it definitely is, it's get this out of the way. It's about creating safety. Mhm. It's about creating predictability, even healthy emotional boundaries so your children can feel secure. That's the whole thing. That's what this whole thing. You want your children to feel secure, even when your emotions fluctuate, when your partner's emotions fluctuate, and all the things, right? You want your children to be safe and secure, right? And if peace feels hard right now, you don't have to figure all of it out alone. Um, I'll link my Peaceable Wife Quick Action Toolkit below for you. It's for moments just like this when you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, right? So I'll link that below. If, dear friend, if this video helped you in some way, please like it. Please share it with another dear heart that's on this neurodiverse journey who needs a little help, a little validation, right? A little support and understanding. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Yes, yes, yes. Please subscribe so that more neurotypical wives in neurodiverse marriages know that they are not alone at all. And remember this, your calm, your boundaries, and your care, it matters. And your children, they notice it every single day. Well, that's it for today. And before you leave, check out the next video. There's always some good stuff. I'm so glad you're here, and I'll see you next time.